You'll never sing that. You'll never sing that. Champions of the Singapore Festival of Football Tridentity Cup. You'll never sing that. Arsenal will 1-0 to the Arsenal against AC Milan in Singapore today. The first trophy of the season. Do we put a badge on our shirt for the next 4 years for that one? I'm not too sure. But look, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about, obviously, some of the youngsters coming through. Very impressive performances today. Some of the new signings and some of the old faces that have a point to prove. And yeah, I don't know, mixed emotions about a couple of them. So we're going to get into it. Before we do that, if I could just ask you to like and subscribe, I would be very grateful if you could click the like button, which is free, and the subscribe button as we try and get to 22,000 subscribers. 22 for Ethan Nwaneri, and we will be talking about him. But look, the game itself was weird in a way because it's a preseason friendly, so you're not expecting it to be frantic and chaotic. But I also wasn't expecting AC Milan to treat it like the semi-final of a Champions League first leg where they're trying to get away without losing. It was it was like playing a lower or a lesser Premier League side in the sense that they set up with really 10 men at least behind the ball kind of at all times, even when they'd gone 1-0 down. It was very, very defensive. And I mean, we can start looking at the numbers in the game. They had 3 shots, 1 on target in the entire game, AC Milan. And that shot on target was from well outside the box, straight at Kepa. We had 23 shots and 9 on target and only scored 1 goal. We've been there before. That's why we've brought in Viktor Gyökeres, and we will talk about that. But ultimately, yeah, it did feel, we had 14 corners in the game as well. It felt like one of those games where we're just trying to break a team down. And I guess in some ways that was good for us, right? That is, a lot of the time where we have issues and difficulties throughout the Premier League season is against those sorts of opposition. So testing ourselves against them and trying to figure out new things is always good. I think the fact that we didn't have any of the new attacking players there in terms of Madueke or Viktor Gyökeres meant that it did feel a bit samey as last season. And again, we'll talk about that. But overall, yeah, it wasn't the greatest of games. In terms of some of those individual performances, Martin Zubamendi came on at halftime, played 45 minutes in the second half. Really, really good for me. So clean, so tidy on the ball, keeps possession exceptionally well. He can turn left, he can turn right. He showed that. He was dropping deep to receive the ball again and again and again. On the edge of the box, loves picking it up and punching a ball. That was the thing. He loves to punch them through. There was one into Miles Lewis-Skelly inside the box, which was really good. And ultimately, I thought he was really impressive. And as well, and I saw people saying this in the chat on Big Up. By the way, if you don't watch the watch-alongs, the link to Big Up is down in the description. The future of all football watch-alongs. That's where we'll be doing all of the watch-alongs this season, including the next 2 pre-season friendlies. But yeah, people in the chat kind of surprised by the fact that Zubamendi is more athletic than they thought. He's bigger than they thought. And defensively, a lot stronger than they thought. So overall, a good debut for him. Very impressive. Ethan Nwaneri, wow. Played the first half, and he is going to be knocking on the door of the first team at some point this season. Such a good first half. He's electric. To watch him, he's exciting. And he played in central midfield today. He played in Martin Ødegaard's role, but with a proper team around him, and he was thriving. He looks physically like he's developed well over the course of the summer as well. And a couple of those, there's one, I'm sure you'll see it. If you go and look at the highlights or whatever, you'll definitely see it. But he receives the ball, I think it was from Norgard, with his back to goal. He's about 25 yards out, back to goal, with a defender on his back. And he feigns as if he's going to let it run across him and go out towards the right-hand side. But as he feigns, he takes a touch back the other way that lofts it up in the air as well, completely sells the defender. The defender is gone. And then he strikes it with his second touch on the volley, and it's heading into the bottom corner, forces a really good save from the keeper. And that's just one of those moments where you think, God, that can change the game so easily from absolutely nothing. And outside of that, throughout the game as well, as he only played 45 minutes, but some of the dribbling, some of the skill, just really, really impressive. In terms of What I still think he lacks on Martin Ødegaard is when he's not necessarily in those moments where he's not getting you off your seat. I don't think he still dictates the game in the way that Martin Ødegaard does. You know, the amount of times that Ødegaard just receives the ball, keeps it moving. I still don't think he quite does that. But is that something that you sacrifice for those moments of magic? I think there's going to be a genuine heated competition this season between them, and that is a fantastic thing. Going even younger than Nwaneri, Max Dowman, of course, I'm sure you've seen, made his debut today, came on for about 25 minutes in that second half, and he looked at home. He looked, you were watching him, and obviously we know he's 15, so you're like, wow, he's 15. But if you just sat down to watch this game as someone that didn't follow Arsenal, doesn't watch Arsenal, you wouldn't pick him out as a 15-year-old. You wouldn't go, oh, that guy clearly looks a lot younger. Because he looked so comfortable, so composed. The way the ball sticks to his feet is ridiculous. Like, he picks the ball up, he carries it, and it's like he's sprinting with it. He doesn't have to run any slower with the ball at his feet than without it. And realistically, 9 times out of 10, the option is that he either takes it past you or you foul him. Oh, and we saw that time and time and again. I mean, if you go and watch, again, on Twitter, you can probably watch just a compilation of his highlights from the game. I think in total, he probably had 8 sort of notable actions with the ball. 7 of them, brilliant. 7 of them, he gets us from one place further forward or drops off the ball to someone. Like, just a really impressive performance. And then in the penalty shootout, the random penalty shootout at the end that didn't actually mean anything, he stepped up and slotted his penalty away really well. So, yeah, opening game for him in the senior team. Very, very impressive. Martinelli and Havertz. Now, the reason I brought these two up, they played in the front three alongside Bukayo Saka. They are the 2 of the front 3 whose position is under threat, right? Havertz from Gyökeres, Martinelli from Madueke at this point, but then also possibly Eze or, in a dream world, Rodrigo coming in. Now, I felt like Havertz, Wamverts, with the weight that he's gained, looked good. I thought he looked strong, really strong on the ball. And a lot of his link-up play with Saka, I thought was really good as well. There are still elements, though, where I feel like he doesn't sniff out an opportunity. You know, there were times, especially with Saka and the link-up that they had, where Saka gets to the byline and cuts it back. And it's like, I think Victor Gyökeres is there. I think he sniffs that out where Havertz perhaps doesn't. But his all-round game was very good. For Martinelli, I felt like it was a little bit same old, where there were a couple of moments where he was good. You know, he played 45 minutes in the first half. There was one where he nutmegged the defender, carried it into the box, pulled the ball back. That was decent. But a lot of the times, it just feels like the end product isn't there for him. And we've seen that before. And another thing that we've struggled with, one thing that's really plagued us, actually, in my opinion, is when we win the ball back, maybe on the halfway line or inside the opposition half, when they've already started committing players to an attack. And then we have an opportunity in transition, maybe a 2-on-2, a 3-on-3, and we don't capitalize on those opportunities enough. And again, we had one of those in that first half today where it's like Martinelli gets it and then he carries it and he gets to the box and Havertz has gone to the left of him. He's got Saka on the right of him. He doesn't find either of them. His head's down and eventually gets it up, sort of cuts on onto his right. His shot gets blocked. And I just feel like his game isn't developing. And whether or not that's because of the way that he is told to play for Arsenal or not, I just feel like it's a position that at the moment is really upgradable. And today I didn't see anything that changed my mind on that opinion. And I really could see us starting with Madueke and Gyökeres next season with Bukayo Saka. In terms of the rest of the team, this was the team we started the game with. Ben White at right back. I mean, David Raya in goal literally had nothing to do. Ben White at right back, so good to see him back. Looks a lot fitter and a lot fresher than he did at the end of last season. And the support that he provides for Saka, overlapping, underlapping, it just drags one defender away. And again, we were in that situation, especially with the way AC Milan were playing today with 10 at the back, basically, where Saka was getting double, trebled up on. But Ben White just takes one of them away at least, and it frees up Saka just that bit of space that he needs. So very good performance from White. And defensively up against Rafa Leao, I thought he was solid. Saliba is Saliba. We get what we expect, a Rolls-Royce defender. But again, today, there were two moments, one in the first half, one in the second half, where that recovery pace is such get out of jail free card. There was one where Rafa Leao is running through, Saliba is chasing him down, and you think Leao is a very quick player, and Saliba just does enough to catch up with him, put that pressure on his back, and Leao basically takes it out of play by himself. And then in the second half, there was a counter-attack. Ruben Loftus-Cheek was running down their right-hand side. He had outpaced and got away from Miles Lewis-Skelly. Kivior wasn't catching him. And the way Saliba runs across diagonally to catch up with him, once his strides open up, it's unbelievable. He's such a huge player for us. Calafiori, left centre-back. Love watching him at left centre-back. I do think naturally you can see that is where he is at his best. I thought he did really well in that first half, read the game exceptionally well. You know, I think at times we've been critical of his 1v1 defending, but you've got to bear in mind, like, he's a centre-back that you're sending out to the wings to defend against some of the best and trickiest wingers on the planet, and then you're saying, oh, he's dodgy in 1v1 situations. But at centre-back today, really liked him. And then when we're getting forward and we've got the ball, super aggressive with it, on the edge of the box at times, the AC Milan box, that is, receiving the ball, trying to make things happen. Really enjoyed it. Zinchenko, not much to write home about. Honestly, look, he's still a very tidy player. He's still a good player, just not good enough for what it is that we need right now. So that was that. Norgard, another debutant coming in. And again, I thought really impressive. For me, you know, for 10 million quid, we are getting exactly, I mean, we're getting more than what we paid for, actually. For 10 million quid, we're getting more than that. But ultimately, he is just a rock-solid central defensive midfielder that screens the defence. Really, very little gets past him. On the ball, he's not magical. There's nothing special, but he's consistent and he's fine. And I just think it's a really solid purchase for us to have made. Declan Rice looked better today, looked fit and fresh, again, as you'd expect. I think towards the end of last season, he was beginning to look very leggy. But when we start squeezing teams in and pressing them in, and he eats ground up so quickly and puts them under pressure, that's what you love to see. Saka was great, as you'd expect him to be. We spoke about Nwaneri, Havertz, and Martinelli. This was an interesting one for me. With about 15 minutes to go, maybe 20, Reese Nelson came on, right? And at this point, we had seen Martinelli off the left for the first half. Then for about half an hour, we saw Trossard off the left, who again, for me, just didn't show enough. There was one moment, Miles Lewis-Skelly played a wonderful through ball, unbelievable through ball. And Trossard got on the end of it, but his touch was too clunky. Yeah, with both Martinelli and Trossard, I just felt like I know what they can do, and what they can do is good, but is it good enough? But Reese Nelson came on, and honestly, he looked more threatening than either of those two, and that's worrying, right? Because we're looking at moving Reese Nelson on for very little money, possibly just on loan again to Fulham, but he genuinely looked like a far bigger threat going onto his left, onto his right. And I know he's had so many injury issues, which has made it difficult for us to ever plan a team around him. But for me, like, the fact that he can make himself look better than those two, again, it just shows you it's so upgradable, that left wing spot. And that's frustrating. And then I want to talk about these two, Nichols and Salmon. Both of them came on, again, with about 24 minutes to go and looked really good. You know, Nichols is 18. He's small. He is small, and I don't know if he'll grow, which is a shame in some ways because technically very, very good. He's got pace. He reads the game really well. And at right back, like, he will offer a lot. And maybe that does end up being something that Crystal Palace look at, with Munoz looking to move and us going for Eze. I know that was kind of a weird little rumour that was happening. But he was good. And then Marley Salmon. I mean, so young, they haven't even got a picture for him yet. But again, very, very impressive. Coming out of Hale End, a centre-back, reads the game exceptionally well. And his passing range, I mean, he played one 60-yard diagonal ball over the top. I think it was into Reese Nelson. So a really good performance from him as well. And I think that's what you like to see. You know, of course, we've got the new signings. We've got players like Erdegaard, Martinelli that we want to see more of, but we've also got these youngsters that are coming through. So, look, we won the game. Some good performances from the likes of Zubamendi, really exciting. I'm excited to see Mosquera joining up with the squad, Victor Gyökeres joining up with the squad. Not sure if either of them will play by Sunday against Newcastle, but that North London derby next week could see those two. And what I really want to see more of is variation, because that was the other thing today. And I think because we had Gyökeres and Martinelli, it was a lot of the same players. I felt like I didn't see much that had been reimagined. I didn't see anything where, okay, we're coming up against another team with 10 men behind the ball. Have we added anything to our locker? And I didn't see that today, but like I said, perhaps that comes with Madueke, with Gyökeres, and in a dream world, I think another attacking signing based on what we saw from Martinelli Trossard today. That's going to be the end of the video. I hope you've enjoyed it. We'll be live on Twitch at 10:30. Might be a live stream on this channel today. Probably not, unless there's any major breaking transfer news. Like I said, please do subscribe if you're not already. Please do click that like button. And yeah, other than that, have a fantastic afternoon, evening, whatever it is that you're doing. And I'll catch you all on the next one. But until then, goodbye.